Hey, it's James here from goodguitarist.com, and welcome back to 30 Days of Guitar. Today it's day 4, and looking back, on day 1 we did all the absolute basics like holding our guitar, tuning it, and all that stuff. Then we learned our first couple chords. On day 2, we learned about rhythm, counting, strumming, and on day 3 we put that together and we played through a simple 2-chord song, Horse with No Name by America. And today is going to be a review day because we covered so much in those past 3 days, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're going through the process the right way, because what we just did in days 1, 2, and 3, that process, you can apply that to learning any chords, to learning any strumming pattern, to learning anything, right? So we want to have the process down pat so that as we move forward, we're able to take in all these new things and actually get the most out of it. The first thing that I want to cover are 4 tips for making clean chord shapes. And I've hinted at a few of these, but today we're going to be really serious about it. We're going to start off with our E minor chord shape. And my first tip is to have your fingers as close to the fret as possible. We already talked about that. If your fingers are too close, it kind of mutes the string. And if they're too far, it can buzz, right? So you want to find that perfect spot. Number 2 is thumb position. We want to make sure that our thumb is in a good spot. And that's going to be, basically, it's reinforcing your fingers, right? So we want it right between those 2 fingers that are pressing on the front. And from my perspective, this is what my thumb looks like when I play that E minor chord. So it's kind of like on the middle of the neck, maybe a little bit above that middle line. And it's pointing straight up. If it's off to the side one way or the other, it's going to, just try it. Just try putting your thumb like that. I can already feel my wrist starting to just, it's not good. It's not a good feeling. And I do want to talk a little bit about wrist pain in a second, but let's just finish up these 4 tips. There's also arched fingers. And if you don't curl your fingers, if you have floppy fingers, it might sound like that. So you want to curl those fingers and use your fingertips to press the strings. Finally, my last tip is don't over press. I'm just playing the 2nd fret of the A string here. And I'm close to the fret and all that good stuff. And I'm just going to release pressure till it starts to buzz a little bit. And that means I'm not pressing hard enough. And then I'm just going to press enough so that the string rings clearly. And if you pluck harder, you have to hold it a little bit tighter. And finding that point where you're using just enough pressure, and as you move on in your guitar journey, years down the road, you don't want to press harder than you need to, or else it's going to create tension and it's going to prevent you from playing smoothly, playing, more quickly and all that stuff. So those are my 4 things that I want you to be aware of. They're in the ebook that I've mentioned a few times now, and I'll put a link in the corner for it. It's completely free. It's up to like 41 or 42 pages now. Every time I think of something that needs to be in there, I put it in there, right? This whole wrist pain thing leads me to my next point, where if you are feeling pain in your fingertips, that's totally normal. It's totally acceptable. It's going to go away as you develop calluses. And in fact, guitar, it's easier to press the strings once your fingertips get a little bit harder. Just imagine using like a sponge and trying to like press a light switch or something. If the sponge is all soft and you press the light switch, you have to put a lot of force into it in order to make the light switch actually click. Whereas if you're using something rigid like a pencil and you push the light switch, all the energy transfers directly into the switch. And that's the same concept applies to your fingertips. Once they're a bit harder, you're going to be able to transfer the energy into pressing the strings down, and it's going to be easier to do so. But if you feel pain in your wrist, in your shoulder, you need to take a look at how you're playing guitar. You need to rest until that pain goes away as well. The best thing you could do is consult a professional. I'm not qualified to tell you about health things. In fact, I notice there's tons of articles out there where guitar teachers tell you to do stretches like this and stuff like that, and stay away. These stretches are for a particular issue. If you have that particular issue, great. But if you don't have that particular issue, you're going to make your problems worse. So I think it's actually pretty wrong isn't the word. Guitar teachers really overstep their bounds into the medical world when they're giving you that kind of advice. And I wouldn't I wouldn't do that. The only advice that I'm qualified to give you is to rest and to play guitar properly in the first place so that these issues don't crop up. So we have to remember our guitar is facing forward. It's not going like this, or else it bends our wrist in a weird way. Our neck is upward a little bit. You could even try it on your other foot and see how much more reach that gives you, how much more comfort that gives you. For some people, they love that. I personally like my guitar on this leg, but I want you to try and find what's most comfortable for you, because we don't want to have any issues, right? Sitting up straight, having your feet firmly planted, because the support system goes from your core and your legs and your feet, up your spine, along your shoulders, down through your bicep, your forearm, your wrist, and then your fingers. And the power from chords is actually coming from your core. If you can, take that time and that effort required to develop that proper posture, and this is a lifelong journey. And when I'm like 30 minutes into playing, sometimes I catch myself playing like this and my back starts to hurt or something, so we got to catch ourselves and we have to take the time. Now, as far as actually playing guitar and reviewing all the things that we've learned, the process for incorporating new chord shapes goes like this. You pick 2 chords. When there's 2 chords, there's only one switch back and forth between those 2 chords. When you have 3 chords, there's 3 switches. When you have 4 chords, there's 6 possible switches. So every time you add a chord shape, you get way more potential switches that you have to learn. And if you're worrying about switching from G to E minor and then E minor to C and C to G and then G back to D and all that, that's just too overwhelming. And you're not going to be able to focus on rhythm. You're not going to be able to focus on all these other aspects of music. And we want to keep it, we want to, learn the bigger picture here, right? So we focus on 2 chords at a time, and we're going to do silent switching first. And we're going to learn new chords tomorrow, but today let's just stick with the ones we know. And we do our silent switching. That's step 1. Step 2 is to do the chord switching game, rounds 1, 2, 3, 4. And then step 3 is to play a song that uses those 2 chords. And I have spent a lot of time finding 2 chord songs. My beginner course, the very first chapter and the second chapter are just full of like, here's 2 chords, we're going to practice them, and then we're going to use it to play these 3 songs. Here's another 2 chords, we can use it to play these couple songs, etc. So that we're putting everything into songs. And that is the best way. When I do that with students, they have fun, they stay motivated, they end up learning a bunch of songs as they learn the fundamentals. So that is my 3-step process to incorporating new chord shapes. Finally, the last thing I want to do as far as developing the technique and, improving chords, sometimes switching isn't enough. So I like to do this simple exercise where on the thinnest string, I'm going to put my index on the 5th fret, my middle finger on the 6th fret, so 1 fret higher, my ring finger on the 7th, and then my pinky on the 8th. And as you put your pinky down, you're going to feel like, oh, I got to move my thumb. I got to bring my elbow in. It's going to kind of force you to do that proper technique. And not everybody can do this right away. For some people, just get down 3 fingers. But the idea is the same. We're placing our fingertips down. We're pressing the string. We're making sure our thumb's right in the middle. See how my thumb's like halfway between? I'm putting it a bit lower, obviously, but I'm just showing you right here. It's halfway between the outside fingers to provide that balance, and just move your thumb around until it's like, yeah, that feels balanced. That feels good. Then I'm going to take my pick, put it on the thinnest string, and I'm going to pluck it. And I'm playing this note right here that my pinky is on. Then I remove my pinky, and I'm getting this next note. And I'm just revealing the next note underneath it. Then I remove my ring finger, and then I remove my middle finger. And then I'm going to add my middle finger back, and add my ring finger back, and finally my pinky. And we do this on the thinnest string because it's the easiest to reach. Trying to reach the thickest string is going to require our technique to improve even further. So what I like to do with this is I start on the thinnest string for a day, for a couple days, maybe for 5 minutes, whatever is good for you. And we do that just going down and then back up. And then we go to the next string and we try that again. 8, 7. I'm saying the fret number. 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you see how far you can get. I'm I'm going really fast just because it is kind of boring watching somebody do these exercises, I feel. And as you reach these thicker strings, you might feel like, it's just hard. I can't get my pinky that low. And you're going to be able to get more reach with your pinky if you put your knuckles forward. But then when you put your knuckles forward, it's going to bend your wrist. So you have to make sure that your elbow's in, that your shoulder is back, and you're going to discover what feels comfortable for you. The primary focus, though, is to make sure it feels good and don't push yourself beyond where you're at. Some people stay on this thinnest string for a month before they're ready to move on. This takes a while, but the whole point is, as you get lower, it's going to refine your technique that much more and build that dexterity. And by the way, you could do this with just these 3 fingers, by the way. You don't have to use your pinky. That's just like the full-on version of it. Regardless, this is going to help you with your chord shapes because it's going to build up strength and technique in your chord hand. And it's also going to help with picking strings too, which we're going to do later when we learn the melody from Wonderful Tonight and learn some other fun stuff. Either way, that's all I wanted to go over today. Just a review, just to make sure that we're doing everything right and that we're going to get the most out of these 30 days, out of our journey on guitar. Don't forget to grab my free ebook if you haven't already, to like and subscribe so that you can keep up with us and, follow along. And maybe you're going to take more than 30 days to do this. That way you'll have this saved for later. You can save this playlist. It's all organized down below. And please, if you have a moment, check out my beginner's course that is doing what we're doing on these 30 days times 100, and just going so deep into every single aspect of guitar. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you tomorrow.